Don't sleep, wake up.
Collect your money,
Wake up,
collect your money,
wake up.
Tera, go get the moolah.
Wake up,
Money go kala, kala go yellow dilla. Don't walk, you don't try. You supposed to be jai. Kilo come, me come, person matter, person we don't mind, boy. When I land softly on the sofa floor. So far so good, koni bajo. Let me see you, oh lo lo. Let me see you, oh lo. Bukao, let me see you, de buga. Oh lo. Let me see you, oh lo. Bukao, let me see you, de buga. Oh lo. Let me see you, oh lo. Bukao, let me see you, de buga. Oh lo. Let me see you, oh lo. Bukao, let me see you, de buga.
In England, started her career working at Punch newspaper. She was working on the feature desk. After 1 year and a half, the management of Guardian newspaper offered her a position as assistant woman editor. Here, she got to interview several prominent women from all over the world. It must have been her ability to approach all women that drew Mrs. Abiola of the Concord newspaper to her and brought her in as a woman editor. It was not long after that the government made her an offer to head the women's desk of both Daily Times and Sunday Times. In between, Patience had a weekly women's interview show on NTV called Feminine World before relocating back to the US, a country she lived as a child. She worked with USIS, now known as USCIS. She now works as a training consultant. So let's give her a round of applause. Welcome.
Good evening. Are we here to have some fun? Are we here to just maybe turn the city upside down today? Yeah. I am so excited to be here. I would like to extend a thank you to my brother-in-law, sitting right there. I believe he's your treasurer. Give him a round of applause. He likes to hide all the money, but for good reason too. So let's just not take it out on him too much. Also at this time, I want to also introduce my sisters. They're sitting right there. Those two beautiful ladies over there. So we all came from the big city, the Big Apple, and also came from the Garden State. I live in the Garden State. So I'm so excited to be here. But before you do anything at home, as Nigerians, one of the things I've learned about us is that we pray the house down. When we pray, something happens. Am I right? Yes. Oh no, you all don't even sound convinced. Am I right? Yes. Yeah, so you shout as the way you will pray. That's the way it goes. Okay, at this time, I'd like to call a man. When I met him yesterday, I was like, this face kind of looks familiar. You know, because sometimes you meet people once, twice, 3 times, and then when you kind of get a little older, or nicer looking like I am right now, then you kind of say, I know that face. And now he's a pastor, he's a man of God. And when you see a man of God, you honor the man of God. Man of God, Pastor Yemi Ojo. Can you come up please and say the opening prayers?
Thank you. Let us stand up. Let us pray. Thank Thank you, Lord, for bringing us together for this special occasion. May we have the truth and listen with an open mind. Thank you for protecting us. We thank you for the life of NSJID families and the executives. As we gather here through this evening, Father, come and be with us in Jesus' name.
Amen.
Let the program be a successful one in the name of Jesus.
Amen.
Continue to guide us and protect us from all evils.
Amen.
At the end of this program, let us have cause to glorify your holy name.
Amen.
Thank you, everlasting Father. Glory and adoration to your name. For in Jesus Christ's name we pray.
Amen. Thank you, man of God. Give him a round of applause again. You know, I want you all to know something. When a man of God prays, he's praying the heart of God. So if you praise the heart of God, what else do you do but to honor God through that? So I want everybody to give him a round of applause. One that's teaching to Jesus Christ. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you very much. Now at this time, I believe we're going to sing the anthem. Oh, are we going to sing or are you going to play?
Play.
Oh, okay. So what do you want us to do? Stand up? Of course we're going to stand up.
We're going to stand up for our country.
Yeah, we're starting with Nigerian one? The U.S.? Okay. Everybody will stand as we sing the anthem. The first one is actually the Star Spangled Banner. Okay, awesome.
Can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hail, and the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched, were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets declared, the bombs bursting in air, came through the night, and our flag was still there. Oh, sing us the Star-Spangled Banner yet wave, o'er the land of the free, and the home of the brave. On the shore he'll meet our rice boat on the shore, Nigeria's come on in to serve our fatherland with hope and strength and faith. The naval of our heroes was giant money in hand to serve with hope and loss. One nation now in freedom, peace and unity.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. DJ. Is it on?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, you turn it. That's all right. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. DJ. That was nice. Now we have honored the land of our fathers. We've also honored the land that we live in. We must always remember to give honor not only to the land of our fathers, but to the land that we live in. Because this is the land where we bear fruit today. And when you're bearing fruit somewhere, you give honor to that land. It's like a house. You're building a house. You got to respect that territory. So I thank you all for doing that justice. So now this time, we're going to recognize the convention chairman, speakers, and special guests. Do I have to do that, or should I call somebody that is really, really familiar with the special guest to do it? Okay, you want me to do it?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so I'm going to start off by asking my brother-in-law to tell me who the special guests are, and let's go from there.
Thank you. Thank you, brother-in-law, for being out.
Yes. I'm going to start off, and we don't want to wait too long. First, I'm going to recognize the first speaker, and I believe you're going up to the high table?
Yes.
Yes, okay. The first speaker for the day is Mr. Sam Okwodu. Okay, sorry. Okay. Mr. Sam Okwodu. Oh yes, oh yes. Okay, so thank you. Give him a round of applause. Thank you, sir, Mr. Sam Okwodu. Thank you very much. Does a young lady want to lead him to where he's going to sit? No, you're going to sit down first, I think.
Yes.
Yes. I think he sits first. Yeah, but not now. Not now. So please sit down. And then we're going to introduce the second speaker to come also to the high table. And I do want a young lady to assist them. Don't let the president be carrying that luggage. That's just too much for the president. Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. I'm going to introduce the second speaker to go up to the high table as well. The second speaker is Dr. Komolafe Johnson. Dr. Komolafe Johnson. Thank you, sir. Give him a round of applause. These are the people that will be speaking later on today. And then the third speaker going to the high table happens to be my brother. And you guys are going to say, this young lady has a lot of family. I sure do. Come from a big family. You know, the Shekiri people, we tend to befriend everybody. But this is actually my brother, Mr. Johnny Isibo. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay. Now that we have the high table together, the chairman of the occasion is going to go up also. But before he goes up, I think we need to say a little bit something about this young man. I'm just going to step up here so I can actually read what I'm going to read very clearly about this young man. I'm told that he's going to speak after dinner, and that he's, but I'm going to say something about him first. Then you're going to get the rest before dinner. So, okay? What I want you to get about this young man first and foremost is that he's kind of unique. I'm told from what I'm seeing here, and I said I was going to talk to him about this later on, that he speaks multiple languages. I mean, that's like something that we do when you come from Nigeria, but for you to actually have it on, and he speaks it with a lot of knowledge and fluency. I don't even know how many people do that. I speak my language, but not that fluent. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce Mr. Matthias Chika Morley. Mr. Matthias Chika Morley to the high table. And you'll be hearing more about him later on. Mr. Matthias Chika Morley. Oh, I'm so sorry. He's the professor from Johns Hopkins University. Let me take that. Please, help me acknowledge this man. Okay, and also of Harvard University. Also, in our midst today, Okay. Okay. Also in our midst today, I'd like to acknowledge the presence of a member of the 1985 Under-17 World Cup winner. Oh my goodness. Wow. Mr. Fatai Ateri. Have a seat and let us know if you want some water before we start. Let us know, or if you just want something to drink to start off. We're pretty good at this. Thank you very much. So at this time also, I'd like to take some time to introduce a young man that I've been knowing for a little while. Not that long. I say a little while because sometimes when you've known someone for a long time and you've never really met the person, it seems like it's a little while. A little while because I would talk to this guy on the phone and he would tell me to come to certain meetings. And the meetings just didn't, I wasn't really carried by it because it just wasn't where I wanted to be at that time. And I've been a journalist all my life. I did my first intern as a journalist with a radio station and also the Punch newspaper at the age of 16. So I've been a journalist since I always knew I wanted to be a journalist. I didn't even have a choice. So because I liked to do what I did. I like to write. I like to speak. I'm a creative person, just like all of you that are here, and that is really, really good. So I talked to this young man, and at the time he was setting up what was then considered an African Association for Journalists. And I thought, oh, that's exciting. And he named some people that were part of the group, and I kind of knew some of them, but I wasn't sure I really wanted to be part of it at that time. So he kept calling. He never stopped calling. He kept calling. He kept calling. At that time, he was living here in the Maryland area. Then he ended up moving. Once he moved to Ohio, yes, oh, you know him more than I do. So once he moved, I wasn't really sure I was ever going to hear from him again. And to be very honest, and don't tell anybody this, don't let him know, I was really happy he wasn't calling me anymore. But then one day he calls me and said, oh, we have a meeting, we have a conference call. And I said, oh, you do? So I said, okay, you know what? I'm just gonna go, maybe if I talk, I'm there, he's gonna stop calling. And I went, and it was really, really good. But you know, when you have worked with organizations like Good Morning Africa and Good Day Africa, you're gonna keep calling because you need guests. And he kept calling, and he kept calling, and I never wanted to be there. All I knew was that he would say, you know, I used to be with the Punch. I'm like, uh-huh. And he would tell me all these good things. At the end of the day, I did succumb, and I'm here today. Not only because of him, but because of my brother-in-law and my sister-in-law. They insisted that I be here, and I said, okay, I'm gonna be here today. And then Eyobong Ita is my friend. He's a pastor. He's a man that started his journalism career in 1986. He was a sports reporter with Vanguard newspapers in Nigeria. And 3 years later, he relocated to the United States, and he worked as a government reporter for the Gazette newspapers. Here he won nine Excellence Awards while covering Prince George's County. You all know where Prince George's County is. Yeah, thank you. Prince George's County, here in the Maryland area. In Washington, D.C. area, Ita created and hosted the Good Morning Africa and Good Day Africa radio talk shows. He, however, left Washington and moved on to Missouri to work as a reporter at the Kansas City Star. From Kansas City, Ita was just going up and up. He also had a stint as a reporter in New York City, oh my goodness, at the ESPN. Do you know how big that building is? When I went there, I was kind of like, if I get a job here, I'll never leave. He went to the ESPN magazine. The magazine section is even bigger. In Philly, at the Philadelphia Inquirer, my goodness. In Kansas, at the Wichita Eagle, and in Virginia, at the Rahoboken Times. He later on went on to publish the Drum newspapers in Nigeria, where he served as the editor-in-chief. In 1993, and I remember seeing this on one of the posts, that Ita had gone back to Nigeria to serve as the Director of Press Affairs, and that's Chief Press Secretary to Governor Clement Ebri of, did I pronounce that right? Of Cross River State, the chairman of Pelican Stars, Cross River State's coordinator of sports, Cross River State sole administrator of soccer, and FIFA media manager at the 2019 or 2009 Under-17 World Cup soccer. I could go on and on about this young man, but I'm sure not going to. But there's one important hat he wears today, and I'm so happy to say this. He's a pastor. He's a man of God. He loves the Lord with all of his heart. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Pastor Eyobong Ita. Come on to the podium. He is the current president of this gracious association. Thank you, my brother.
Thank you, gracious. Thank you, finally. You can't want anymore. Hi, everybody. I wouldn't say good evening because there's some people watching in Nigeria and it's not evening anymore. And there are people watching in the United Kingdom and in Spain and in Ireland and it's not evening anymore. So I welcome you to the inaugural convention of the Nigerian sports journalists in the diaspora. I have seen quite a lot of familiar faces. People I haven't seen in a long time. My man, I call him Bongi Bongi. We used to call us Bongi Bongi. Johnny Isebo. This man played with Hakeem Olajuwon, in Nigeria. The legend Hakeem Olajuwon. And you wouldn't believe it, even when he was playing with Hakeem, he was the best, the MVP at the Nuga Games in Lagos. And Dr. Johnson, I just met Dr. Johnson, sport-loving physician who will dissect the future of Nigerian sport tonight. And I have seen this young man on Arise television a few times, Dr. Matthias Chikamodimoy. Good to meet you in person finally. And I have known this young man when he was younger, with Bender Insurance, the great Bender Insurance. You remember when you guys crashed, Rangers International? Oh, come on, not when you guys crashed Rangers 3-0, I almost fainted. I couldn't believe it. Oh my goodness, how did that happen? And what can I say about Fatah? I mean, if he just can shave his beard, he can still play for the Golden Eagles. The great Fatah legend, member of the Order of the Niger, and they won the inaugural FIFA Kodak Under-16 World Cup. I can't forget that second goal by Victor Ivinova. Oh my God. He played like I used to play that he swept and it was a goal. Anyway, enough about that. Thank you everyone for coming. I am Eyobong Ita, as the young lady has told you. And we are here to celebrate. Not only that, we are also here to look into one of the problems facing our sport in Nigeria, sport development. And we have eminent people to talk about that. But let me say this first. I have a friend of mine who went to Europe about a year ago. And on his way back, he called me. He was excited. He called me. He said, which ones are your teams, or which is your favorite team? Let me buy the jerseys for you. So he said, which is your favorite team? I want to buy you a jersey. And I said, listen to this. I said, Calabar Rovers. He said, no, I mean a real team. I said, what do you mean a real team? Oh, I mean Man U. I mean like Man U or Chelsea or Arsenal. Oh my goodness, it got me so mad. I said, what do you mean Man U? I said, Calabar Rovers. This is one of the issues we're having today. Our people, from administrators to the fans, they're not talking Nigerian sports.
To sport journalists.
To sport journalists. We are actually the biggest culprits. Because you look at Nigerian newspapers on a daily basis, pick up a copy, on the sports section, from cover to cover, it's foreign sports. Man U, Arsenal, Barca, Man City, Liverpool. I mean, this thing has got, it gets me crazy. So one of the reasons we are here today is to find a way to develop sport journalism in Nigeria. We are the Nigerian sports journalists in the diaspora. About some months ago, we decided to set up an award for the best journalist sport reporter in Nigeria covering the local sports. So we need your help to put funds together so that annually we can reward sports reporting at that local level. We can reward our colleagues in Nigeria who will devote their time to cover local sports, badminton, wrestling, cycling, tennis, table tennis, we call it ping pong here. Even soccer at the local level. If it wasn't developed at the time, people like Fatah would not have made it to the Golden Eagle team. But now our coaches they all rely on getting foreign players. Getting Nigerian players have been developed abroad and bring them home to play. We want to go back to developing sports in Nigeria. And we don't want to just talk the talk. We want to walk the walk. So we need your help, not only tonight. For those who are not ready to support tonight, when you go back, we need your support financially to put up rewards in the form of an award to support our journalists, sport journalists back in Nigeria who will devote their time to cover local sports, to do investigative journalism regarding local sports in Nigeria. So here we are. But we are not just here to listen to our speakers, to our chairman. We are also here to have some fun. We are also here to booga. We are also here to lean back. We are also here to eat and have something to drink. When I say eat, I don't just mean any kind of food. The legendary Eddie Kanikom is here in the house.
Legendary.
Of course. It's a legend among food in Nigeria. Afala is here. A4 is here. Oh, you just heard me. You heard me right. You heard me right. And so please, while you are listening to our speakers, take time. The bar is open, and you don't have to pay that. It's all on the house. Please have something to drink, have something to eat, and have fun tonight. You can dance until you drop, because the DJ, he has told me he's ready. And we are here till, whenever the fat lady sings, if she will sing. If she doesn't, we are here till, until day breaks. Thank you very much for coming, and please have some fun. This is the inaugural convention of Nigerian sport journalists in the diaspora. And for those of you watching, I know it's late in Nigeria, I know it's late in the UK, but I promise you, if you stay awake to watch, you'll not regret it. Thank you and welcome.
Thank you very much. Give him another round of applause. When people clap the way you guys just did, I kind of think you're hungry. I can't, okay. Before we go eat, and we will go eat after this, can you give him another round of applause? at this table. Give him a round of applause. Thank you very much. So at this time, it's time for dinner. It's going to be, I'm not sure how are they going to be doing it. Are they going to serve? They're going to serve us? Okay. So while they're serving us, I guess, Mr. DJ, you have some music for us to get us started, right?
You know they give person. If you want no person, you know go first person. I know they sick, you won't give me medicine. I get money, you won't help me spend my money. Allow me to enjoy myself. Allow me to enjoy myself. Allow me to enjoy myself. Allow me to enjoy. Allow me to enjoy myself. Allow me to enjoy myself. Allow me to enjoy myself. I love you, oh yeah. I'm a winner, I'm a winner. Just believe that I'm a winner. I said just believe. I'll never do it like you do it. Just believe I'ma do it, yeah. Let me do it like I do it, how I do it. Allow me to enjoy myself. Allow me to enjoy myself. Allow me to enjoy myself. Allow me to enjoy. Allow me to enjoy myself. Allow me to enjoy myself. Allow me to enjoy myself. Yeah, 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 yeah. Oh my mama. Oh my mama. If you know what make you happy, something go do you. Something go do you. Water go show you. Thunder go yam on you. Something go do you. Something go do you. Water go show you. Something go do you. Big Smoke, stop.
It's blazing the beat, baby.
Allow me to enjoy myself. Allow me to enjoy myself. Allow me to enjoy myself. Allow me to enjoy. Allow me to enjoy myself. Allow me to enjoy myself.
On a bed fool. On a day. You jealous? I am poor. The other polo. Moi, I check it, cha because of them the cash up front before take it 5%. You have Okubane going to take a very personal.
Chop life, celebrate life, try move on to life. Thank God we there alive. Yeah, it is a beautiful day to remember. We are making progress together. Look at we now. My guy, is a beautiful day to remember. Oh, no. We are not here forever. Yeah, celebrate me now that I am living, not when I die.
presence of another star from Nigeria, Mr. Paul Okoku. I'm going to get my friend here, Pastor Joe, to come and introduce him. Say some more stuff about it, something exciting about him. Thank you.
I welcome you all to this special occasion again. Paul Okoku is not a new person to us. He was an international player. He was in the Nations Cup, 1984. Africa Cup of Nations. In Cote d'Ivoire.
I was in Libya.
Libya. Cote d'Ivoire, 1984. The national team was handled by Coach Adegboye Onibide. Paul Okoku is a very good midfielder, an attacking midfielder. I'm sure he's not new to any one of us. Joseph and Fatah Akere, they played in the midfield, attacking midfield. Paul Okoku, you are welcome.
Thank you.
Let us give him a round of applause.
Thank you very much. You're welcome, sir. And you know what? You haven't had any food. You want to follow me?
I will eat later.
Are you sure?
Yes, absolutely.
It's really good.
I know. I can smell it.
Okay. All right.
Don't worry.
Ladies, Mr. DJ, go ahead and put some music as we eat. Thank you.
Party. This life is for the living. Every day na jolly jolly. Onye dindu wa festival. Eze gangu ba manya. Oyi kwe keche oje wa mama. Chop life, chop life. Celebrate life. Try move on to life. Thank God we there alive. See me no coba, we no rush, we take come gentle. Now I ain't born on money, carbon or candle. You see my side, you can see from my angle. As I get no the panic, you come and put your leaf and munye my cheese. Link it up with your jelly man and maybe magic. See a lot of guy come back a ballin' is a habit. And what's a life? Life and I got no be traffic. Only believe, yeah, believe, make you know better me. Anything we go stressing me, make it day under me. I dey pray, I dey fast, blessings all over me. The couple moon and bomb now they want follow me. Make I tell you I see the go. My life I die, watch I only who come go. Tease in a preaching, watch out till we say go. Come in and I saw the boy go the flow. You two got the code. What's up? What's up? Chop life, chop life. Celebrate life. Try move on to life. Thank God we there alive.
Come on, hey, take a good look at me, man. I'm alive. I'm alive here, man. Come on, man. You look at me, man. You're not there with 2 1 2 pack, man. Come on, man. I drink life here, man. That's why I keep my life, you know. Oh, yeah.
Celebrate me now.
Good evening. Good evening. Okay, did everybody get something to eat? Yeah. Okay, if you didn't get anything to eat yet, please go get something to eat. It's not too late. But meanwhile, while you're eating, there's also some drinks over there. You know, you can take care of yourself. And there's also lots of water. So please do not go home without having drank something or eaten something. But as we're here right now, what I'd like to do is I'd like to introduce some special people. And these people, they are part of the board of directors of this beautiful association. You know something that I saw was missing here? I turned around and I kind of looked at the high table. I didn't see any woman here.
Wow.
What is going on? No, I don't want to sit down. I'm doing the right thing, what I'm supposed to do right now. Okay, Mr. President. Yeah. No, you're not. Next time, I want to see some girls. There's some sports girls.
We'll try to invite, what's her name?
No, don't tell me about what's her name.
The little girl, the one that won national title.
Okay, so next time invite her.
You beam herself.
Okay. So, okay, Toby, yes.
There's one coming in.
Oh, there's one coming in? Okay, awesome. All right, come on in, young ladies. Come on in. Okay, I understand. Oh, Miss Marian Donald, come on up. Come on up. Gentlemen, somebody got to stand up for my beautiful sister. Give her a round of applause. That's what I'm talking about. Thank you. I was just accusing them that there were no women on the high table. Thank you very much. Oh, and where's the second lady? Come on, babies. The Nigerian basketball star. Okay, come on. Alexi Kim. Oh my goodness. Now that's what I'm talking about. Come on, let's give them a round of applause. Excuse me, you all have something to eat. Give them a round of applause. She's shaking her ears. Okay, my sister, sit down. Take your place. Wosengwa. Well, thank you very much. Thank you. You see, we gotta be able to know that without these ladies, excuse me, I want to say something. Some of you might get offended, but it's the truth.
Yes.
Without these ladies, and ladies like myself, you guys wouldn't be here.
That's a surprise. That's just a fact.
I know, right? You see how God is? God knew that it was time to put the ladies in their right place. Ladies, thank you for coming. You know what? There's lots of food at the back over there. Go help yourselves. And don't say because you're looking so fine, you don't want to eat. There's a lot of food. Thank you. Thank you very much. My brothers, I'm not talking about my sisters. My brothers, give these fine ladies another round of applause. Thank you very much. Okay, at this time, I'm going to introduce the current board of directors of this beautiful and wonderful association. And I'm going to start off with the president of the group, Pastor Eyobong Ita.
Outgoing president.
He's the outgoing president. The vice president. Well, you know what they say, once a president, always a president. The vice president from Europe, of the European section, Miss Julie, is it Osewole? Osazele. Miss Julie Osazele. Stand up, let everybody see you. Oh, she's not here. Okay. Okay, and the next person could not make it either. The vice president of North America. Oh, she couldn't make it. Oh, that's sad. That's Mr. Joe Egizode. Okay. Thank you. Okay, the secretary.
Okay, that will be me.
Of the group. Yes, Mr. Enola. Stand up. Thank you. The secretary of the board. Thank you. We just want to say thank you for all the work you've done. And the treasurer of the group. A special man, my very own people. My very own people. My very own people. My brother-in-law. Yes, I'm trying to sell. Yes, come on. Mr. Rashid Adewi. Yes, my very own people. Thank you. And then the next person, the assistant secretary, could not make it. But we recognize Miss Caroline Wangwo. Thank you very much. Give them a round of applause. These people here have been doing the work. They're the board of directors of this association. And we just thank you for all the work that you've done. And you know what? One of the things I know, having served in different organizations, is you're not retiring. Your job has just started. It's just started. And just keep it up. And next time I say to you, please bring more women. Yeah, because I'm going to be watching you guys from now on.
Please encourage women to get into sport.
Yes, I will. Okay, thank you. Give them another round of applause. Thank you. We're going to wait a little bit. Mr. DJ, you're going to play some more music so that people can finish eating and we can go on with our program. Thank you very much. Thank you all. Thank you all. Years 1995 and the year 2000, you, Mr. Morty, I guess you were Mr. Morty at the time, or Professor Morty at the time, whichever one, yeah? You built and managed the investment banking functions at 3 Nigerian banks. I mean, you know, that's an achievement. Yes, that's an achievement. Because if I was writing a story on you, that's where I would start, and I would base it all around that. The fact that you were able to do that, 3 Nigerian banks, that is from the year 2001 to 2005, you, Mr. Morty, spearheaded the viable introduction and growth of electronic consumer products, channels in Nigeria and in Ghana. Those things struck me. You also helped to catalyze the banking credit, banking support industries like switches, card processing, captive communications, and credit registries. Ultimately, you changed the culture of banking in West Africa. I think that's a first. That's a first. Because those are things that we need to highlight as we talk about people like yourself. And I know you speak multiple languages. That's good too. But those things are very, very interesting. You hold a master's in public administration from Harvard University's Kennedy School, master's in international public policy from Johns Hopkins University's School of Advanced International Studies. And thank you very much. An MBA with IESE Business School, an AMP from Harvard Business School, and conducted postgraduate research in political communication at American University, Washington, D.C., and a BSc in economics from the University of Ilorin, Nigeria. In 2018, Professor Morty then Mr. Mordi, I guess, joined the faculty of Johns Hopkins School of Advanced International Studies as an adjunct professor. Ladies and gentlemen, the man that is about to speak to you, Matthias Chikamodi, was an active participant in the capital markets, not only in Nigeria at this point, worldwide. So, I would like to, at this time, present to you the man of the hour, the man that actually makes us proud to be Nigerian, because when you talk about capital banking, this is something that would should interest every last one of us, because this is a first. At least from where I'm standing, this is a first. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Professor Chikamodi. If you want to stay there. Yeah, okay.
Thank you very much, man. But very young sister.
Thank you.
That's such a great introduction. It's very hard to speak when you... That sounds quite illustrious. At the point I was wondering if it was me. But thank you. So, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, and when I say distinguished, I mean really distinguished. It's been interesting to see some of my heroes, soccer heroes, when I was younger. You know, like Fatah Terre, and about 3-4 of you who are pretty illustrious. Very nice, very good to see. So, I'm happy speaking with you. I'm here for 2 reasons. One of the reasons is because my baby sister, who I can never say no to, asked me to come help me speak. And obviously, the outgoing president, Obong. For those of you who are familiar with EFIC, Obong, and even the video, is like a king. So I call him Kamba Ite because it's a big man, which means big man in Africa. Kamba Ite. I'm always happy when I see Nigerians in the diaspora. There's something very special about all of you. And don't take my word for it, but the data is very clear. Diasporic Nigerians in this country, in the UK, have a higher educational level than the average American or the average Briton. They have a higher income level than the average American or the average Briton. And contrary to what you read in the media, they have a lower level of committing crimes or incarceration than the average American or the average Briton. And in every sphere of life, whether it's academia, whether it's entertainment, whether it's even politics. I mean, there are 4 Nigerians, 5 actually, who are members of parliament in the UK. There's a Nigerian senator in Italy who happens to be with the far-right party. The Nigerian parliamentarians in Canada. So Nigerians across the world, almost every sphere, do very well. Which begs the question, why don't we change Nigeria?
Amen.
Why? So well, God is still listening, and I'm sure He will intervene at some point. And I'm pleased that you have this kinship, this camaraderie. Many of you have known each other for decades. Some have not seen each other for a while, but you managed to keep these bonds. And that is a very laudable thing. There's a Yoruba proverb, an adage that says that you can break a single broomstick, but it's hard to break a broom. And I feel that by being together and having that kinship, you're stronger together. So please keep it up. So I have 3 quick comments. The first is about sport. And I think sport itself, there's this tendency to think of sport as just entertainment or something prosaic. But sport has far, far more value and functions than just fun or entertainment. For one thing, in the case of our country, sport is a unifier. The one time every Nigerian feels is Nigerian is when the Super Eagles is playing, or Toby is willing to jump over hurdles, and at that moment, we set aside all our differences, the ethno-religious differences we have, and we become Nigerians. So sports help in unifying us as a country. The second important role it plays, now sports is big business. The EPL is a significant contributor to the British economy. So the TV rights alone on the EPL now, and when it started, it was a few $1 million. Now it's in billions and billions of dollars. It's an entire industry. You have literally something like 1,000+ people at the higher tiers who are earning significant money, and investments are multi-billion. And these clubs are huge. And that's just soccer. The point is that sports is big business, and we have a potential, domestic potential in Nigeria for commercializing it and making it business, employing people in the wedding industry. The third thing is about national image. And this is very critical. I did some work on this, so maybe I could speak with some confidence on it. So when you think of a country, there are countries that are core or central from, if you're in the US, for example, there's some core countries around you. So Mexico, Canada. If you say in Africa, it's more peripheral. Now the opportunity to interact with a country is pretty limited. So for those countries, for some countries, if you think of Italy, what comes to your mind is going to be maybe soccer, Italian shoes, fashionable clothes from Italy, some sort of spaghetti, pizza. There's a lot about Italy that comes to your mind when you hear Italy. What doesn't come to your mind is a very high crime rate in Italy, which is real. What doesn't come to your mind is how dirty Napoli is, which is real. What doesn't come to your mind is the amount of corruption that's in Italy. It's almost called like, they say Africa begins in Italy, in Europe. But we don't see that part of it because we have occasions where we interact with Italy, and we can see those things as good. It's the same story with Mexico. If you think Nigeria has problems, 5 years, 10 years ago, Mexico was having something like 10, 20,000 people being killed. Drug gangs were running, several cartels were essentially running the country outside the capital. So you had an American who got killed, this was very popular here, in California. They mistakenly crossed the border on the lake, and they killed the woman and the man, and the woman was in the back of the scooter. And it was such a big issue that the Mexican government was pressured into appointing a general to go and investigate it. And that general got killed, they decapitated him and sent his head to the president's office. And they sent a replacement, they did the same thing, and they just dropped the case. That's how lawless Mexico was, and in some ways still is. Yet, half of the world's cruise liners berth in Mexico. Yet, in America, people jubilate when they get a raffle ticket or something to go to Mexico. Right. Because, why is this? Because they interact with Mexico in many different ways. If you're eating Mexican food, or there's Mexican music, or whatever it is, there are other ways to interact. For us in Nigeria, there are very few avenues of interaction with people here. So you might get an email trying to scam you, and that's what you think of, okay, this is Nigeria. You might hear of some drug bust, and you think, okay, this is Nigeria. Sports provide an opportunity for people to interact positively with the country, so it affects the country image. The second thing I will talk about, I'll just speak briefly about it, the experts here who are going to talk about this very well, is sort of the untapped potential when it comes to sports in Nigeria. And we talked about Toby a few minutes ago, and that's very instructive. Toby and some of the other members of the team at the International World Athletic Games, and now at the Commonwealth as well. Very talented, great people. But what you see they have in common, like Toby, was they moved over here or somewhere where they got good facilities to train, and she became world class, and by all levels, the best in the world, and she set the world record. Now think of Jamaica. Jamaica dominates, used to and still dominates the sprints. So 100 meters, 200 meters, Jamaicans are there. Sometimes the top 3 are Jamaicans, male and female, Usain Bolt, whoever. Jamaica has fewer people than Surulere in Lagos. So I grew up in Surulere, right? There are more people in Surulere than all of Jamaica, right? So why can't we do as well? You look at America here, and you look at the sprinters who do well, 100 meters, 200 meters, look at them very closely, they look like you and I. Because their DNA can be traced back to West Africa, right? And of course, we're the biggest cast in West Africa. So Jamaica is not a wealthy country by any stretch. But they've managed to get facilities and interest. And two critical factors here. One is administration. Right, so if you have incompetent or corrupt sports administration, it doesn't matter how much talent you have or potential, it will not be fully realized. So that is critical. And the second thing, obviously, is facilitators. And you don't have to necessarily have them. We used to have Afuze. Like Obemudia was a visionary. And in Afuze, that camp produced a lot of the boxers, the sprinters, and everything else. What happened to Afuze? It's like a metaphor for, arrested development, a lack of realizing that potential. So I think this is the other comment I was going to make. And the final thing I'd say is now in terms of the role you all play. If information was important 20 years ago, it's now the single most important thing in the world in 2022. And what do I mean by that? There's a transition that's been going on for a while. Obviously, the most obvious things are the labor substitution. So you go into a CVS, you're paying, you're checking yourself out. You don't have to see someone. You can go press some documents, right? You have ATMs. Now you have bots that are doing a lot of stuff, and you can make phone calls, and some AI is speaking to you, and the rest of it. So it's obvious that we're having humans being replaced in terms of basic labor. But it's gone beyond that. You've had all this convergence that's happening, and so information becomes perhaps the most important thing that they can have. So which is why you look at the biggest companies in the world today. You're thinking of Facebook, you're thinking of Apple, you're thinking of a lot of these companies, Google, the rest of it. What are they doing? What are they selling? What are they buying? So in this new world we live in, increasingly so, information becomes a real strategic competitive advantage. And if you're in media, I mean, I don't know how many of you live in this country, most of you do, you could see that they're basically reached this situation where the former president, and I'm not trying to be political, he's literally has nuclear secrets, right, that are classified, so classified, that you can't read it, even within government offices, you can't open it. You can only open it within a special secure facility that is secured in a way that radio waves cannot go into it. And he has it in his house. And there are people who don't believe it. And they're angry at the FBI. And these are people who support law enforcement and support the police. They're angry at the FBI. Whatever Trump tells them is true. Doesn't matter what he says. If he changes his mind next week, it becomes true. Because he has an entire machinery that propagates this version of the truth. And they're able to persuade and influence these people who are not just terrible, gullible people, but it's just the reality of how you consume information. So in a nutshell, the point I'm trying to make here is that sports journalists are going to be so critical to how Nigerians shape their thinking of Nigerian sport. How the next generation of sports people take an interest in those sports. And we heard Obama joking, talking about what club he supports. I think it's a shame that you could have 200 million people who are of a nation that is soccer mad. We care a lot about soccer, we know India or China. And all of us take pride in supporting some English or Spanish team. And probably don't even know who the local champion is. And that is the challenge that we all face. Because at some point it affects not only the commercial value, but even the ability of our next generation to engage in sport. So let me leave you to finish eating what is left of your food. And I look forward to hearing the other speakers. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Give him another round of applause, please. You know, as you were speaking, sir, one of the things that came to me is a quote that I saw several weeks ago, and I had to look it up exactly where I saw it, that a well-informed man avoids tyranny. A well-informed man avoids tyranny. In other words, if you're well informed, if you're educated not necessarily in school knowledge or book knowledge, but information is something that you seek. You avoid fights, you avoid rebellion, you avoid strikes, because you now understand why those things exist. So thank you for that. Give him another round of applause. So at this time, we're going to continue with our speeches, and I'd like to invite the first speaker to come up, but not yet. You can just sit where you are. But I'm going to invite, once again, my very own person. And you guys know who I'm talking about. You need to give him a round of applause. Mr. Rashid Adewi is going to introduce him. Thank you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I want to welcome you once again to the inaugural convention of the Nigerian sports journalists in the diaspora. I am here this evening to carry out a task, which is the introduction of our first speaker at today's convention. But sincerely, the task is daunting, as the resume of our speaker is bursting at the seams. But within a very short time, I shall try to do justice to this. Our first speaker tonight is a former chief coach of the national female football team, a former head coach to a number of college football teams. He is a technical advisor, a former footballer himself, both at the club and national levels. Our speaker also combines brains and brawn, having graduated from the North Carolina State University in 1987 with a Bachelor of Arts degree in history. Between 1981 and 1984 at the university, 4-year full athletic scholarship, and started in 77 games. His romance with the beautiful game is well over 40 years, and it does not appear the romance will end anytime soon. In 1980, our speaker emerged the most valuable player of the prestigious Nigerian Challenge Cup after playing a major role in the then little-known Bendel Insurance of Benin City's emergence as the winner of the oldest football competition in Nigeria.
I was there. I witnessed it.
In the 1980s, he was named the All-ACC 50th Anniversary Soccer Player. Let me emphasize that he is the ACC all-time leading scorer with 193 points as the head coach. With 193 points as the head coach of Raleigh United football male team. He won the North Carolina Championship in 1987. He has been a member of the National Soccer Coaches Association of America, Kansas, since 1994. Our distinguished speaker served as a liaison officer for members of the United States World Cup soccer team between May and July 2000. It is said that a prophet does not have honor in his own home. Our speaker has put a lie to this because he has so much respect in his country. In December 2002, he guided the Nigerian female national football team, the Super Falcons, to their third African Women's Championship. He also secured the ticket for the team's participation at the 4th FIFA Women's World Cup Championship, China 2003. He was also involved with the Falconets' preparations for the FIFA World Cup, Canada 2002. The soccer legend is currently on assignment with the Turks and Caicos Island Football Association to prepare the country's under-17 national team for the CONCACAF under-17 qualifier later this month. Ladies and gentlemen, Join me in welcoming former Bendel Insurance FC of Benin player, former Nigerian Port Authority player, and one-time Green Eagles of Nigeria midfielder. Please, a big round of applause for Mr. Samuel Okodu.
About a month or a half ago, when my dear friend called me about dysfunction, he said, a friend of yours gave me a name to call you because you don't accept calls from just anybody. And the stories that we're all hearing today, before I start, obviously, let me acknowledge the high table. A round of applause. Ms. Pesenti, you spoke a lot this evening. Nobody has applauded you. I think this time is a good time for us to do it. To put color to the show. When men are together, it's one color. When you put a woman right there, you see. Yes. So that's exactly what we're doing with right now. So thank you very much. I think the conversation we are having today, I thought about it for months and months and did couple research, and I got down to the point where I said, why am I researching something that I've lived my life doing? It makes no sense. Our doctor spoke eloquently about some of the, we may say it's an issue that we're dealing with in our country. It's in our country, don't matter where we go. Nigeria belongs to us. We are not going anywhere. What is happening is that they're making things difficult for athletes, but they're just, the money aspect of it. Let me give you a little bit of stuff right here. And this will blow your mind. And I told Rashid, how would you feel when you come in here today? They say they have a new journalist president, and it's Sam Okodu. Every one of you are going to say, this cannot happen. Yeah. But could you believe that's the same thing we're having in Nigeria? In America, before you get any job, there is a minimum qualification. But you would also have to go through the training, participate, being a part of that field before you are qualified to get the job. But in Nigeria, now who know man? Can it be the reason why we are where we are today? Because the qualified hands are being pushed aside. For brothers, nepotism grows a lot. And you also spoke very well. And those were some of the things that I carried with me as I was coming here today. One of the founding members that can change some of the things that are going on in Nigeria today is journalists. They are a major stakeholder in the things that are happening in Nigeria and in the diaspora. Tell the truth. You know, they said the truth shall set you free. Yes. We need to become a nation of people telling the truth. And I think that's what is holding us. The minister makes a pronouncement. We are paying all of the allowance tomorrow. The journalist will write. The minister had just declared all arrears will be paid. Yay! A month later, did the same journalists go back and verify whether that money has been paid? It's just like when somebody castigates you in the press, nobody read the retraction. It's the first thing that everybody reads. You become that first article. Could that be some of the same things that we're dealing with in Nigeria? So I charge us. We need to, when you write, you have to follow up and tell the truth. If the money has not been paid, say the money has not been paid. The industry, there is so much money in sports. It's unbelievable that the people that are currently running, we talk about management, administration, either because they're not qualified, which I know, but I'm trying to be political about it. My finding tells me, this is a quote here that I like to share, and I think this will blow your mind on why those politicians are only welcoming federal government allocations, not pursuing funds that are globally ready and available for any country that chooses to develop their youth. We say the youths are the future, but we're playing with our youths. We're not preparing them. Could that be the reason why we have lawlessness? The declaration for me is this. In this country, you have a 2-year-old playing soccer, learning ballet, playing tennis. If the parents are not well off, the school is providing it. How many 2, 3, 4-year-old in Nigeria? So you see where we're getting it wrong, and one of the major reasons why it is because we have, I know back then we used this adage, put in a square peg in a round hole. It's what we continue to do and still do. My brother mentioned Afuze. I was in the Afuze camp with Obemudia. I stayed in Afuze camp for months in preparation for the 1973-77 Sports Festival. In camp, you didn't go anywhere. I was Obemudia's first secondary student in New Era College. We were only 5 students in the school. Obemudia provided the school, and we were 5 students. We go to school, we play sports. That's all we're doing. There is so much we can talk about. Let me just read this. An important economic sector, that is sports. Just to highlight. Was that for me? It's not just a balloon. He said just highlighted sport as being both an important economic sector and a labor-intensive growth industry. Sports alone accounted for well over a gross value added figure of 2.94 billion euros. Do we see any of this money in Nigeria? That is because the people we charge with the responsibility to develop sport in Nigeria don't know where to go find the money. And everybody is depending on the federal allocation that they don't have to account back to the government. Because I've had the privilege of staying around government officials at the end of the year, where all they do is they gather a piece of paper together with nullified signatures and put them together to reconcile the budget for the year. It is depressing. Our country deserves better than that. We deserve better than that. So with the way forward, I'm just going to go through some of the things that I honestly believe that's going to help our country. Federal and state ministry. What is the role for the federal ministry? Their job is to provide policy operation for the federations. They are partners and sponsors, but they cannot be executors. You cannot provide policy and at the same time be the one executing, giving money and you executing. Is that the more reason why you see them, instead of giving the money to the people that need to have the money, they give it to their brothers and sisters and girlfriends to travel. Meanwhile, the qualified athletes are crying for how they're going to survive. Their job is to oversee financial mismanagement, but in this case, they are the ones that are doing the wrong. Their job is to provide grants, all right? Grant to federations so that they can adequately prepare the athletes. It is not the job of the ministry to prepare the athletes. So why is the minister and this cahoot running all over the place when the people who are actually preparing the athletes are being left at home? One of those scenarios happened to me. See, these are the things that we must improve. And the journalists, we charge you guys are the brain. Because whatever you put out there, the world is going to buy it. When people want to know about Nigeria, it's our journalists. Whatever you put out is what the rest of the world is going to see us. Should the ministry manage federation? No. They need to support and empower the federations to operate. Why is there a conflict between ministry and federation in terms of day-to-day operation and financial dealings? Too much stronghold from the ministry. But also too, I'm not going to blame them too much. I've got to go back and say the federation too, the president, because they're selected from the ministry, they go do romance with the ministry rather than actually running the business of sports. They are looking to buy, the presidents also are looking to buy favor. That is only because they are political stooges that are placed in those offices. Why not place a track athlete, a footballer, a tennis player who has gone through the rigor of training to become a world-class player and went to school? Because I tell you what, the full wall of education is powerful.
Right.
The full wall of education, when you've written term papers and you have tried to solve issues, is day in, day out, but you must do it on time. We have a lot of those people in Nigeria. My question is that why are they not being selected, appointed, elected to run these offices? The other thing again that I honestly see is that I said, why is the ministry interfering with the business of the federation? Lack of trust. If you give me money, I want something back in return. That's a bad business. That's a bad business. Those are the things that are happening. The ministry wants to give the federation money, but they want money back from the federation. Then how is the federation now going to have money to prosecute the event for which that money was allotted? It's not going to happen. It's only in Nigeria I realized too that when somebody go to government job, they always say, it's my money, oh. I'm just giving you, it's my money. They haven't given us the money, oh. It's my money. How did you get that money that you are now giving to people? There are a lot of questions that we must ask. So I'm employing our honorable journalists, but here, all over the world, in Nigeria, to start beginning to probe. I also also happened to see a situation where, this is in Nigeria, and only you guys can really change this. An athlete has no money to give to a journalist, so he doesn't get a good write-up. But the minister gets a fantastic write-up because he just gave out 50,000 naira in a brand envelope to a reporter. And a reporter writes a glowing report. The minister has just declared, yay, he's given up this. So the minister looks good. We need to improve on that. We need to improve on that. I was in the office where reporters were called in, and they were all given envelopes. And the write-up the next day was a glowing report. We cannot do that. Because I challenge us in this room to understand, for every time we do that, we are killing sports and business development in Nigeria. So if we start beginning to ask questions as to the reason why we are where we are today, we need to maybe take a snapshot at us. We can change this, and it's important that we do that. I was just talking about, I'm going to close right here because there's a lot of information that I have that I was telling somebody here before we started this function, is if we're going to solve Nigerians' problem today, we're going to be here for years. But I tell you, the state ministry should be responsible for short and long-term goals of education and sports program. But they cannot run sports organization within that area. Imagine, you, ministry, you get money from the government, but you're also running a football team. Is that not a conflict of interest?
Yes, it is.
You are getting money from the government, but you're the one that's also running the teams. That should not happen. The team should mainly go to private sectors, work hand in hand. We can make a lot of things happen. My sisters, my brothers, great journalists, the great people, our president, this matter, not this small matter. So I am going to pass up my mic here, but to say I was privileged to sit in my new place where I'm doing business in Turks and Caicos Island. I was privileged to sit in one of the meetings where the program that was launched was football competition management system that FIFA created to manage referees, commissioners, game club administrators, regional assignment and setup to make the operation of the business smooth. How come Nigeria don't have that? We keep counseling game every day. There's no match today, no match tomorrow. That's why we don't have any supporters. The supporters cannot be the problem if administrators and managers are qualified enough and understand how to run the business. Supporters are buyers. It's what you provide for them is what they're going to buy. If we provide good product, we'll sell the stadium. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Give him another round of applause, please. You know, when I listen to people speak in relation to my first career, which is journalism, I always want to understand that my ears perk up and trying to figure out what I should be doing to make it better, for especially those younger people that are coming after me. And so he said a lot of things, even though he said, let us do it as journalists, some of us are not really practicing anymore. So what are we going to do? with the younger people? How are we going to get them to see exactly what he's talking about? I remember starting off as a journalist, a young journalist, excited. I started on the features desk, and I remember the very first interview I went to do, and somebody said to me, an older journalist, nice lady, she said, be nice, and he will make sure he takes care of you. I'm like, no, I'm not asking the questions I want to ask him. I got a lot of questions and I want answers. I was young, I was really spiky. I mean, I was like, you cannot get anything else from me but a good question. It's either you take it or you leave it. And that's the way I made it. So I'm always looking for young people that are doing the same thing that I did and getting them to understand the only way you can make it is by building your reputation. And that's what I heard you say. A reputation goes a long way with you. People remember you. So, my dear colleagues here, just make sure you're feeding those young people that are standing on your shoulders right now. That it's not the brown envelope. That's not the ticket to a good story. A good story is the question that you ask, put it down as it is. Question and answers. Thank you, sir. Give him another round of applause. And I see here that there's the award. Where's Mr. Ita? Is he around? Okay, so I'm just gonna skip that for now. And we'll definitely put it all together at some point with the second award. But at this time, we'd like the second speaker to come up, but not right now, because he's going to be introduced by my dear brother, Mr. Benga Bakare. Mr. Bakare. Take your time, sir. You all sound like you don't know how to really clap for a man. President! He's going to be your president! Yes, thank you. Yes. Let me tell you all something. If you don't clap for him real good, it's going to be really harsh on you on his turn. So give him another round of applause.
Thank you. Thank you. My next speaker is Dr. Kamalafe Johnson. Kamalafe is not new to me. We've been meeting for about 20 years, for the past 20 years, at the All Nigerian Soccer Festival. We do it every year. We're going to Austin, Texas this year. Atlanta, Green Eagles actually hosted the national tournament last year, and we won it. I'm the vice president of the Atlanta team, and he's also a member of Atlanta Green Eagles. Now, Kamalafe Johnson had his early education at Igobi College, Yaba, from 74 to 79, where he played the round ladder game. He attended Howard University, Washington, D.C. from 1992 to 1997, where he obtained his bachelor's and master's degree. Later, he attended Rocky Mountain University, where he obtained his PhD in psychiatry. He currently holds the position of the Director of Psychiatry at the Department of Corrections in DC. He was one of the founding members of the Nigerian Sports Federation. You know, like I told you before, I've known him for about 24, 25 years ago. I'm even very modest when I said 20 years. We started that All Nigeria Soccer Festival in 1996. I remember Atlanta won the first edition in Maryland. And the third edition too was in 1978 in Georgia, won it 1998 and won it again last year.
Yes, congratulations.
Congratulations to Nigeria. Clap for Atlanta. So I've known him for a long time. Please come to the podium.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Yes. Good evening, all. The president, the outgoing president, asked me to dissect the topic of today. And I promised one thing I'm going to do. I will not only dissect, I will operate without anesthesia. So I want everyone to stay awake.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to be speaking to the future of sports development in Nigeria. That is the topic. So without much, let me start up by saying good evening, Mr. Chairman, fellow speakers, invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to be part of this noble cause and being invited as a guest speaker. It will be a great pleasure and opportunity given to me to share my view on the topic of today, the future of sports in Nigeria. The future of sports in Nigeria cannot be discussed without talking about sports development of the people of that nation. Right after the Civil War in Nigeria, our beloved country, Nigeria, hosted the second All-African Games. The nostalgia from the Games and its influence on the development of sports or various sporting activities assisted in the healing and development of Nigeria right after the Civil War. The sporting festival brought about radical changes and positivity among the millions of our people. It also brought about a feeling of brotherhood and fostered a sense of patriotism and nationalism. It was during this period that Nigerians experienced the development of other sports such as taekwondo, swimming, boxing, lawn tennis, wrestling, track and field events that were almost foreign to majority of us. We could call this period the glorious sporting period of Nigeria. Our country operated from the blueprint of sport development that were implemented up until the late 80s. And during this period, what do we have? We had heroes that came out of the second All-African Games, like Tony Oyorikwa in soccer, Emmanuel Okala, Victor Otua, Aruna Yerika, and I can go on and on and on. And this went on into the late 80s, where we have Unduka Diesel in lawn tennis, Diobitos in swimming, Atondamusa in table tennis, Kemi Amuri table tennis. We have among us tonight Miriam Donat in basketball, Arit in basketball, Paul Okoku in soccer, our MON, Fataya Tere, and of course, the legendary Opodu himself, Sami Opodu. A lot of Nigerians, soccer players sing the name Opodu to warm up in every game. Some of them never saw him. until they came to America. And here among us, we see Sabi Okudu, that we use his name as a one. When we talk about sports development and the future of sporting events in Nigeria, we have to look at the current state. Someone stood here and talked about the problems that they face. But it goes beyond that. Someone also stood here and talked about the financial aspect, what we could expect from developing sports in Nigeria. Tonight, just listen carefully. I'm taking you on a journey. We've talked about the past, what is happening currently. The current sporting program in Nigeria had deviated from where it started from after the Civil War. It has become inconsistent and continues to focus on fewer sporting events, mainly football, boxing, basketball, and athletics. Other sporting events that could have added value to sports development has been neglected. The federal government has the sole responsibility of directing the sports in Nigeria. The Nigerian Constitution empowers the office of the president to establish the Ministry of Sports and assign responsibilities to the minister that includes sports development. The current National Sports Commission under the Minister of Sports has failed woefully in promoting physical fitness, developing sporting activities in Nigeria. Our nation's sports have continued to deteriorate from where we started, and our national sports representatives are mere participants and no longer a force to be reckoned with at the international level. First, the past legislations in Nigeria have shown shortage of laws to encourage development of sports. The National Institute of Sports, NIS, created to provide advancement in learning and conducting professional coaching courses in the various aspects of sports knowledge and skill, is a non-performing entity. With this, NIS was a noble idea and has become a white elephant project, leaving our nation with no statutory institution for developing sports and sporting activities. Similarly, various sporting programs that brought about changes and lifted Nigeria on the world stage have been eroded and non-functioning. We all remember programs such as the Youth Sports Federation of Nigeria, Youth Fund, the Nigeria University Games, Nuga Games, the various state football academicas, inter-house sports, principal soccer competitions among high schools, the National Sports Festival. These were the areas where talents were discovered and nurtured to international levels. Lest we forget the Cuban-Nigerian boxing tournaments that we all used to go watch at the National Stadium, international athletic meets. All these are foregone conclusion, and our current sports in Nigeria is abysmal. So the question is, what is the future for sports development in Nigeria? While sports have the capacity to bring people together and the capacity to transform the lives of individuals, it is the responsibility of our government to revitalize, re-energize, and reinvest in sports development in our country, while sustaining and maintaining our working institution. However, the development of sport could be utilized as a tool for national or for nation building. there is a growing evidence that sport development can be a tool for economic development that you mentioned, for both private and corporate entities. The construction and rehabilitation of sports facilities, the development of sport for entertainment, create opportunities for both employment and marketing. Sport development programs can also be used as a training ground for new workforce, teaching skills that make young people more employable and productive. So when we take a look at the United States of America, what do we see? If you look at the percentage of sportsmen in this country compared to the national population, you will be amazed that as they develop newer sports, the level of participation, the number of jobs created, the number of economic impact is beyond what you can imagine. Millionaires are made overnight. How have they achieved this? What happened to our institutions in Nigeria? We were on a trajectory going up, and then all of a sudden we stagnated and we went on a decline. What happened to us? What happened to our blueprint? I mentioned academicals, Nugu games. People are shaking their head. Their memory came back. What happened to those institutions? NIS, for coaches, what happened to us? Some of the speakers earlier on spoke about what happened. I've not been privileged to be in the boardroom, but I know a lot of what they mentioned earlier on do happen. The Minister for Sport, one important thing, there should be policy. We're talking about the future now. The Nigerian Future Sports Development Policy should include the participation of the private sector, investors, corporate sponsors, and sports stakeholders. It should also involve the local government sector that are saddled with grassroots sports development. This will be in an effort to provide sporting facilities, recreational activities, and educational facilities for our people. The Minister for Sport should create ad hoc committee to look into reevaluating, sustaining, and maintaining various existing national sports such as the Nigerian Sports Festival, the Nuga Games, as earlier highlighted. Similarly, the National Sports Commission should be empowered through legislation to coordinate, evaluate, and improve grassroots sports development that would include inspection and certifying the management of sports stadia and facilities all over the country in order to meet both national and international level. Furthermore, the development of sports in Nigeria should include the means to measure outcomes. The Ministry for Sports should improve on their data collection of various sporting departments in order to create short-term and long-term goals. Relying on data collected would identify areas of need of improvement and funding. Sport development is an integral part of a nation building that could be utilized as a part of national development that is connected to the overall health, wealth, education, culture, and the future of a nation. I have a strong belief that having the right people, developing and implementing various aspects of our sports in Nigeria, the future will be brighter. On this note, I will say thank you and God bless Nigeria.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. We're going to move right ahead. But before we actually go into the next thing, I think we need to probably do the first NSJID award. So Mr. Itai is going to help us with that at this time. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, thank you. I know tonight is fast paced, and some people are here to dance. But before we go into dancing, as you know, organizations are run by people, members, and this organization we've been blessed with a lot of good members, but there are also outstanding ones, which I would like, in my capacity as president, to appreciate them tonight. This is the first phase of that appreciation, and I will need the help of some of you to please give out these awards for me. We have an award for the most valuable member. This member has gone beyond and above the call of his responsibility, and is always available to help. He has performed his duty excellently well, perfectly well, and he has also helped out in other areas, just to make sure this organization is successful. So for the most valuable award, I would call on Sam Opodo to please come up and help us with giving out this award. And I would like him to call the person who is getting this award to come out. Most valuable member awarded to
Rashid Adewe.
Come on.
Release money. Release money.
Thank you.
MVP.
I can't say more about Rashid. And another person, second most valuable member, I would like to call, well, the person is not here, so we will just, I'll call on one of our members to mention the person in absentia. I would call on Miss Miriam Donald, former Nigeria's basketball captain, to come and acknowledge the second most valuable awardee. She's not here. So the second most valuable member of this organization has been awarded to
Miss Carol Wanko.
Carol Wanko. She's the assistant secretary who has stepped in to help her, a whole lot when our secretary had some challenges, to take care of his family. So she stepped in and performed excellently well. Thank you, Carol. I know you are there in the UK and you are watching. Hopefully, we appreciate you. Thank you. We'll send this to you. So we also have, committees. As you know, organizations are also have to be run by committees. And we have some committee members who have been outstanding in carrying out their responsibilities. So I will call on we have actually two most valuable committee chairmen, who would be recognized tonight. The first would be, she has served as chairman of two committees, as the chairman of the members of the welfare committee and as the chairman of the election committee. Our election committee ran excellently well. There was no protest. Nobody went to FEDECO or to INEC or to anybody to complain. So I would call on Paul Koko. You can please come out and give us the award of the most valuable committee, most outstanding committee chairman. So
I like your cook.
The most outstanding committee chairman, it's a title, there are two of them. The first one goes to Ms. Miriam Muddy. Thank you, Ms. Modest. Also, you know, many of you who have been with organizations, you know how hard, how challenging it is to put up a convention. And so this convention you've seen here started small and grew and grew and grew. And I remember the chairman, screaming about pressure, you bring too much pressure on me. But in the end, he pulled through, and he has been able to organize a very successful convention. So the the other most outstanding committee chairman would go to our current election committee chairman. And Fatai, please come. A golden infant, member of the order of Nigeria. And that award would go to the other most outstanding committee chairman goes to Clement Ike.
Sam, you go then.
Thank you. Thank you. And before now, we also had a previous election before now, so we'd like to also appreciate the chairman of the 2020 election committee that also ushered in this present board. And as it is today, there was no protest. Actually, he presided over an election that was without contest from any of the opponents. So please, let me invite to help present the award another basketball star, Nigerian basketball star, Arit. He can please come and present this award to Jacob, Mr. Jacob Akinola. 2020 election committee chairman. Please come on. Thank you for your work. Appreciate it. Thank you, Arit. Okay. We also have, I think we'll reserve this one because they're not here. In order to save time, we'll send the awards to them. So we'll end this first one here and hand over to the MC. Maybe
All right, before we go into a music break, because I'm sure you're all looking forward to it, I just want to remind you guys that there's some drinks over there. Don't let your glasses be empty. Just kind of do what you have to do to get yourself, quench your thirst, and drink and be merry. But as we do that, as you're getting ready to do that, I'd like to recognize the presence of a former African boxing champion. Some of you know him, Mr. Tunde Jude Agu. sit there alone. You should have walked up to him and just kind of shaking his hand, running to your table and make him feel good. Okay. All right. Mr. President, do you want him up here with you?
Sure.
Yeah, come on, sir. Oh, no, you gotta come up.
No, come on.
The House is asking you to come up. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Jude Agu as he walks up to the high table. Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you for coming. And in case you want to eat, I believe there's still food in the back. So we're going to take a little music break, and Ken and we're going to come right back. But like I said, there are lots of drinks back there. Get yourself something to drink and enjoy. Mr. DJ, let's have some music. Thank you. We're going to move right ahead because I know that a lot of you want to dance and, just kind of let the night just make it for you. So, but before we continue with the next speaker, I'd like to recognize, and they do not have to come up, the Convention Planning Committee, and they include, and they can just stand up wherever they are, the chairman of the committee, Mr. Clement Chesson Ige. Okay. Okay, that's fine. Let's give him a round of applause all the same. No, we're just recognizing you. Okay, and also the next person on that committee, Mr. James Akinola.
Yeah.
Mr. Abu NSJID. Yes, awesome. Mr. Jacob Akinola. Thank you. And Pastor Yemi Joe. Yes, thank you. Also, before the next speaker, we had a couple of checks come in. And guys, you know, we're not just doing this just so we can eat and go on home. If you want to make a donation towards a good cause, this is good solid ground. So go ahead, we had a couple of checks come in, and one from Milestone Medical Outreach Incorporated, and then another one, I'm not sure if they want me to announce the amount, but I'm just going to leave it alone. And then Dr. Joseph Komolafe, actually I'm going to announce what he gave us. Johnson Komolafe gave us $500. So you know what? There's still room for that. Just bring the money, bring the money. Actually, I just announced Mr. Komolafe, so why don't I just announce, Dr. Komolafe, I'm sorry, Dr. Komolafe. Milestone gave us $200. It looks like 2,000. Maybe I missed a zero last time. So maybe I missed a zero. But at this time, I'd like Mr. Ita to come on up to introduce the third speaker for the day. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Madam MC. Thank you for a good job. So far, I know you'll take us to the end. Gentlemen and ladies, you know, back in 1986, I was at the Vanguard Sport desk, and this tall guy walked in. And I tell you, he's 6'5", I believe. And he wasn't talking basketball. He was talking about the journalism coverage he just did, and he was talking about, you know, he was meeting Sepp Blatter. Then Sepp Blatter was the FIFA, you know, president, you know, and he would talk, you know, they have this event, and he said Blatter will stand and post for the president. You know, FIFA is a media event, and he spoke and spoke and spoke. And at that time, I had not gone on any international coverage yet, so I was just looking at him. I said, okay, now I'm just hoping one of these days I'll be covering international events too, you know. And I did. I covered many, several. So he went on. He had started with basketball, you know, as you have mentioned before. You know, he played with Leventis Buffaloes. When we used to have vibrant basketball league in Nigeria, you know, the Buffaloes, you know, and that was when he played with Hakeem Olajuwon. And not because Hakeem played, that made it easy for them to win. They were very competitive teams, you know. But he played, you know, I believe at Nuga. He was the most valuable player at Nuga. What year was that? 1980. 1980 Nuga games. You know, so that's how good he was before he, you know, evolved from basketball into sport journalism. And he began with DBN. Then it was the Broadcasting Network. You know, this guy has covered, you know, sport in France, in London. He was a stringer for the VOA. You know, out of London, Voice of America, you know, and you know, he was in high demand because this was a basketball star, you know, now turned journalist. You know, some of the skills some of us did not have. You know, some of us played, you know, soccer at some level, not at that high level. So he had an edge over some of us. So he was in high demand. Yes, you know, practiced journalism. In Nigeria, he practiced with this day, I believe, This Week News Magazine, you know, and he has, from DBN, he actually went to This Week, and from there, he has worked with people like studying Jack Bassett, the creator of Jack Bassett, you know, who died, unfortunately died just last year, you know. He has, well, in so many aspects, and he doesn't want me to go into all that because the other one I mentioned is the transport sports that he used to, you know, also cover. And so he has been an all-rounder, you know, from, you know, athletics to sport journalism. And now he's an educationist. he has taken all that and packed it into his brand. He has a doctorate in education. So he's not just coming to talk as a sport journalist, as a basketball player, but also as an educationist. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome this tall man, Johnny Isebo.
Thank you. Everyone, I think all the speakers have said everything I have to say, but I don't know where to start from. I'm just going to brief and summarize the whole thing. I started sports journalism because it was deliberate, and three of the things I can garner from here is that in order for us to improve sports in Nigeria, personnel matters. Personnel is policy. Okay. Personnel is policy. Secondly, the media is the message. The media is so crucial that, I deliberately decided to cover sports because I was coming from a position of authority, from strength. I tell you something, let me give you a little bit. And thirdly, I'm going to summarize all the things like I've said. One is personnel, second is the media, the third is participant observer. I played sports. I begged NTA, I begged Guardian, Vanguard, I begged all of them, I begged to apply. This was after coming back from the World University Games because I played basketball at the national level. Coming back from the World University Games, I thought, you got to be an authority in order for what you do. When we talk about putting square pegs in a square hole, I did not want to go into sports because I wanted to go into sports. I wanted to go into sports because I had an in-depth knowledge. I wanted to put it. NTA, nobody hired me. You know who hired me? The first guys that hired me, they looked at my resume. I went to University of Lagos. I have a first degree in political science. They say you have a first degree in political science. You played basketball for your country. Come, they gave me a job right there. Transport Sports gave me a job, and VOA saw my resume. They hired me, and that's how I got to America. So in other words, what I'm telling you is that personnel matters. Personnel matters. Opodo said it. The chairman said it. Dr. Johnson said it, if you put the wrong peg in the wrong hole, it's not going to produce results. So I'm talking to you from a position of a participant observer. I'm not going to talk too much policy. I teach policy for a living now. I teach policy for a living now. But what we're trying to make it, sports is not going to grow in that country if we don't have the right personnel. So the most important thing we'll see all evening, there's a thread that goes through all. It's personnel. And the media is crucial. That's why I come in here. My role as a sports journalist has carried me all over the world. I've covered sports in all over 34 countries in Africa, over 10 in Europe, and I got to America because they recognized the fact that, oh, this is an athlete. He has a background, and so let's get in it. At the time when NTA couldn't hire me because of that Q word, you know the Q word, right? Okay, tell us. Quarter. Quarter system. But when I was playing for the national team, there was no quarter system. But when I wanted to apply to work for NTA, I said, Emi Lokan. I've played up to that level. Listen, I played basketball. I played basketball in the country at a time when 6 naira. When you went abroad to play, it was 6 naira was your allowance. And 6 naira was $10. So they give you your allowance in National Sports Commission. They give you, if you go now for 3 weeks, they give you allowance 6 naira, multiply that. You go to the bank, do a legba, you pick the money. You become, you go abroad. When we went to the World University Games, we were like superstars. To tell you about personnel again, we didn't have jerseys. We didn't have jerseys to play. It was my allowance that I used in paying for justice. The teammates paid me back, but that's how much Nigeria was well-to-do. Your allowance as an athlete, you could use to pay for the team. That's how I bought justice for the team. They gave me the money back, but this is what we have to do. When we put the right personnel in the right place, sports will grow. I was talking to Samuel Kodo before we came in. He said, all the accolade Toby is getting right now, no amount of media ad will pay for that.
Right.
You know, every time I watch that 4x100 in the reality, I almost tear up. Because they talked about Nigeria. It's not a 419 story. It's not a fraudulent story. It's a story of excellence. We are full of excellence. So the only thing we got to do is to make sure we put the right personnel. That's my only thing I can pick up. Everybody has said everything. You know, I am an educator right now. I prepare kids for college, and I give them my experience. So this is what you have to do. You know, the Yoruba used to say, "Tobacco, where?" I can swing. I am not in administration or anything, but I can swing my steps to anybody, anywhere in the world. I can talk to you because I know what I've attained. You know, sport is great. Sports writing is greater because I know what it is. I am talking from experience. So we need to put the right personnel there. You know, I'm not going to stay here and do the whole thing and do all things. But one thing I have to live with is the fact that the future of sports in Nigeria is tied to the fortunes of our great country. If we have to move on in sports, that country has to be great. Okay? Because we have the talent, we have the personnel, but let's put them in the right place. All right? So the only thing I'm going to leave you all with here is that the only way sports is going to grow in Nigeria is personnel. Put the right people in the right place and we'll move on. Take sports away from politics. You know, the sports ministry, all those sports, leave them alone. The federations have to do the work. If you notice, the IOC and the federation, FIFA has more clout than the UN. You know that, right?
Yes, sir.
Because of sports. Sports is the thing. Sports will generate all the strength and all the energy in the world, and we need to do it. With sports, we can go further. And I know my brothers here who have been sports writers for over 40 years now. We've been doing, you know, some of them covered me as athletes back home, and right now, you know, we're on the same thing. But that is the whole thing. And as sports journalists, like Okodo said, please prepare yourself. For the younger ones coming, prepare yourself. If you prepare yourself, you know your stuff, and deliver, they'll respect you. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you very much. Okay, at this time, I'd like you to give him another round of applause. Thank you very, very, very much. Okay, and we're going to go right ahead and, Mr. President, are we doing the second award? Okay, we're going to do the second award, and we're going to move on from there. Thank you.
Chairman, as you know that no organization can succeed without very good members who sacrifice, who make time, who do what they have to do. They go beyond above the call of duty. So the next award would go to a man who has actually made it possible for us to be here today as an organization. It started, as I understand it, as a committee of friends, you know, came together to help a few of us in Nigeria, our colleagues in Nigeria, who were in dire need of either medical help or financial help. And he got together informally and a few friends to be contributing to send money to Nigeria to help. And we have helped a number of people, a number of colleagues who otherwise probably would have died. You know, and so tonight we'd like to recognize the man who got this started before we became formally organized as a group. And to do that, who among us have not helped us? Oh, Miriam, you came out before, but you didn't have someone to present. Please come out this time to help us recognize. This is a special recognition for to Mr. Wasiu Shulenge.
Opposition leader.
Because this, thank you, Wasiu.
Thank you, Alaji.
And we have special envoys in this organization. Sometimes when things happen, the organization being as young as we are, not yet with the kind of financial clout we would like to have. So we have members who have made the sacrifice, financially and otherwise, to be at some special events to represent this organization. When our beloved colleague, Sonny Ojagbase, passed on in Atlanta, all our members could not be there. But one of the members volunteered, made the time, not just to represent us, but actually to host a section of that funeral program. So today we would like to recognize the president-elect, the man who will be taking over from me, Mr. Benga Bakare. And to do that, member of the Order of the Niger, the Golden Eagles forever, Mr. Bakai please, Mr. Bakare, thank you for representing us. Please, first the camera, please. Thank you.
I have to present because it's an Atlantan. And this is one of the reasons why I'm here.
Okay. Gentlemen, Paul Okuku, please. And Patate. Thank you, Mr. Bakare. And some months back, one of the reasons the Vice President of Europe could not be here today is that some months back she lost her husband, and a young man, I believe 50 years old, and he passed on. And so she's still in mourning. She couldn't make it. Otherwise she would have been here. That's Julie Osazile. So when that happened, this happened in London, all the members could not go. And we had 2 members who volunteered their time and their money to travel to London to represent this organization. One of them is not here, that's Miss Caroline Wanko. But the other one who traveled from Manchester to London to represent us at that funeral program is here today. I would like to recognize Miss Modi. And to do that, we call on Dr. Johnson to please help us with that award.
She lives in Manchester, but she's not supporting Manchester.
I'm from Manchester.
Please face the camera. Thank you for your work and your representation. Thank you. And those of our members who came in early, I would not forget how much fun we had yesterday at the official reception of this organization. But there was one member who just said, look, I don't want the organization to spend any money. I'll take care of it. I'll take care of all the food, I'll take care of all the drinks, and it was all you can drink and all you can eat. And we were there till almost 2 a.m. That's why you see some of us here feeling a bit dizzy. It was because of all the dancing and all the, well, not hangover, we didn't drink. We just had water, as you know. So please, We appreciate one of our members, and we'd like him to come up for a special presidential recognition, Mr. Doku Oladipo. Please come up. And to do that, Mr. Johnny Sebo, please come and recognize the able member.
Well done.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Oladipo. I wouldn't want to go into awards for members who are not here. We had a very vibrant election committee. Two of the members, Edwin Emmanuel and Dara Joseph, are not here. So we'll leave it at that. And we want to thank all the members who have been contributing. Thank you so much. And let's get on to the next program. I'm sure most of you are itching to Buka. Yes. So yeah, let's do that with the permission of the MC.
Is Mr. DJ, people are saying they want to dance, so let's do it. Thank you, sir.
We That's
President-elect Mr. Benga Bakare, Vice President Europe could not be here, Vice President North America could not be here, the Secretary, James Tayo Akiola, please step up, please. The Treasurer, Mr. Rashid Adewi is here. Please, those who are here, come up, please, so that Pastor Yemi Joe could do all the honor.
Share some. Make sure you record this. Your skirt is down. Pick it up.
Come to this side. I welcome you all to the new board of the NSJID, and we expect you to surpass what the past executives have done in it. So, as we are going to swear in you in tonight, I want to promise that you will try your best for the association. And I want you to say after me. When I say I, you mention your name. Amen. I. Mention your name. Promised to uphold the Constitution of NSJID and perform excellently to the administration of the members of the association. So help me God. You are welcome on board.
Now we have a new president.
Mr. President.
Mr. President. So at this time, are you ready to give your speech?
Yes.
Okay, sir, here you go.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Yes. First of all, I will thank God for keeping me alive to witness tonight.
Yes.
And also give thanks to my wife of over 30 years. Secondly, my thanks go to 3 young men, Tunji Koka. 2 of them here now, Deji Sudainde and Rashid Adewi. I would not have been here today. For this guy, if they didn't think of forming this organization, I will tell you this young man created a group called Sports Writers Association of Nigerian about 7 years ago. Now, 2 years ago, we started talking about ideas to take this organization to a greater height, away from cracking jokes I'm talking about English Premier League, teams like Manchester United, Arsenal, Chelsea, and Tottenham. We decided to form Nigerian sports journalists in diaspora with main objective to bring back to life the decaying sports in Nigeria. To be able to contribute to Nigerian sports policies by way of positive and unbiased critics of our administrators. One of the other important objectives is to help our colleagues back home whenever they are in need of medical help, and we have done a lot of that. I remember Olumide Akonde, though we lost him, late veteran sports journalist Muyiwa Daniel, and Ben Alosi, who recently had a medical surgery. One of the things I want to add, our ideal is welfare of ex-international who are sick and need medical attention. This reminds me of Jerry Okorodudu, who recently cried out for help. I was pained to my bone marrow that the federal government couldn't do anything about it. I was talking to one of our NSJID member, also a madam of the Concord phase. And he said he was tired of hearing former sports stars crying they are broke and need help. What did they do with their money? He asked. What I want us to do is to include educating the current athletes how to manage their money, so that they will not be going through hardship. They will not be going through hardship most of them are experiencing now. As I talk over the running of our great organization today, for the next 3 years, Sunday 4th of August, I am assuring you, members of NSJID, that we will all have a say in this administration. No member will be left behind, no voice will be shut up, and no advice will be ignored. We will take NSJID into the next level we have dreamed about. I want to kick off my administration right now by awarding certificates of excellence to former sports international, former sports international. Top on the list is Paul Okoku. If you don't know, the exponent of NASA pass. I remember when he was playing, that pass when you pass and you spin it. It's an expert in that. The second person is Tajuddin Bisu. Gaddafi, Alex Gaddafi, who happened to be my classmate in Baptist Academy, done my HSCA. I was 79. Yeah, that was 79, 81. And Chris Oyobio, the former academic. You know, during the time Fimba's players dominated the national team. He was a player, but he's here now in US and actually in Maryland. He's the guy that established and founded the All Nigerian Soccer Festival. And he has grown so much now that every year Nigerian youths all over the US come to participate in that tournament. The last one was held in Atlanta. Like I said before, we won it. That was the third time we won it. And it has grown so much that that guy, Oyobio, needs to be recognized for that wonderful thing he created about 26 years ago. The third person, the fourth person is Sam Kobe. Unfortunately, it's gone, but we'll send it to him. We'll send the certificate to him. I want you, my wife of 30 years, of relationship of about 35 years, to come forward and present the first certificate for Paul Okoko. Please, Paul Okoko.
If you don't know,
Paul Okoko also played for Fimbas.
Timberian.
Yes, of school. Yes.
You know, at the same time, almost the same time as Kesh.
Yes, Kesh was my captain. Absolutely. Yes.
And he played for Flying Eagles, 1983 Flying Eagles that included Kabidi Bisu and yes, and he has played a lot of youth tournaments in Sweden, in Brazil, in US, in Dallas, and he also played for national team in 1984. I believe that was Libya.
No.
Was it Cote d'Ivoire? Was it Cote d'Ivoire?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. He played, and I'll tell you this guy would have actually taken over the midfield from the likes of Mudalawa, but he left US and that's why he didn't really complete that cycle of that potential God gave him that time before he here he played for A&M too, right? Alabama, yeah, like this too, and there we recognize him for those wonderful, and it's also he has actually he is now he sponsors Keshi. This year he still sponsors Keshi on Nigeria. Keshi Memorial Tournament.
Keshi tournament, 2 years in a row, 2021 and 2022.
And he has been contributing a lot to youth and sport development.
Just to correct one impression, when he said that I almost took over from Muda Shirulawal, wow, Muda was a great player. When I was in primary school, I idolized him. Muda Shirulawal took over from Sonny Mohammed. I was playing outside right, nicknamed Sule Kekere. You remember Mighty Jets, Sule Kekere? I was nicknamed after him. But I loved the way Sonny Mohammed played in midfield. And then Muda Shirulawal took over. Under Onibide, I actually took over from Muda Shirulawal, just to let you know. But briefly, that guy was a diehard. He wasn't ready to quit. He was not ready to quit. In 1983, Nigeria was faced against Morocco. Finals to qualify for 1984 AFCON. No midfielder. I was playing under Coach Paul Hamilton under 21, 1983. We were supposed to play against Ghana. That was Shagari Cup, Wafu Cup, 1983. Onibide was so depressed that he didn't have any midfielder to go play a return match in Morocco. Remember, in Benin, it was a goalless draw. Now we have to go to an enemy territory in 1983, August 28th. I will never forget that day. 8 of us were invited from Flying Eagles. That's how super good our youth team were back then. Under Paul Hamilton, 8. Think about that. 8 of us were invited.
Myself, Chibuze and Isasho Fulue. I was in my room when the late Ernest Okonkwo came to me and said, Paulo Coco, this is how small you are. And you're playing today. What do you expect? I said, sir, we are winning. And guess what? I played the full 90 minutes, 3 of us, from flying in with myself, Chibuze and Isasho Fulue. We played 90 minutes and we won Morocco and we qualified for 1984 Olympics. That was when I took over from Mudasho Lawal. And when we qualified, that was Onigide then brought, what's his name? He's late now. What's his name? I'm sorry. The gold butcher for flying Super Eagles. What's his name?
You're kidding.
You're kidding. Oh my God. How can I forget you're kidding? I'm so sorry. My apology. Yeah, Kenny, that was his first match. When he came, I looked at him and I saw the potential in this guy. And I was like, this guy is going to be a great player for Nigeria. So ladies and gentlemen, not to bore you with long speech, I'm happy to be here. You don't mind? Okay. I'm happy to be here. It's a great honor to represent Super Eagles in this moment. My good friend here, where he always said to me, if you had stayed longer, you would have been great. Well, I think I'm great.
Would have been greater.
Education. You see these ladies right here? I met them in 1985. I never knew them until tonight. When you introduced them, I was like, wait a minute. She captained Nigerian national team basketball. I remember they came to Atlanta in 1985. It's good to be good. When I approached them, as humbly as I can be, I said, Madam, did you come to Atlanta in 1985? She said, yes. And I introduced myself. She said, God, really, man, I remember that. So thank you for that honor. It's very humbling. Finally, education brought me to America. I listened to that gentleman. I listened to Samopodu and Chika, the doctor. I have 3 kids. And right from their childhood, I always educate them. And I have a motto. I want you to remember this motto tonight, because that's what I'm going to leave you with tonight. Because it has helped me. I came from a humble background, and I remember that soccer, football, as we call it back home, is not an end in itself. It's a means to an end. And I recognize that right from primary school. And I came up with a motto. Remember that tonight, because you always quote me. That's my quote. And I put my name to it. Education is not a guarantee for success. But without it, you don't have a chance. Thank you.
Thank you. Mrs. Barker. Thank you. I will call on Mrs. Elizabeth Adewi to come and present this certificate to Tajudeen Disu. This is Elizabeth Adewi. Tajudeen Disu is not here today. He had a surgery, a knee surgery. We would have loved to make it, but we talked about 3 days ago, and he said he wouldn't make it. But he's a friend, good friend to Paul. So Paul will get this certificate to him. Yeah. Please, Mrs. Adewi, come and present this to Tajudeen Disu. Please, Paul, come. Thank you.
Regretfully, Tajudeen Disu couldn't be here with us, And he told me 2 days ago, I can't talk to Benga. Please just tell him that I can be here.
Yeah,
So,
I called him.
huh?
I called him.
You know, I volunteered that I will get him a wheelchair. And if he can make it, then I volunteer to move him around.
Yeah,
but he said, Paul, thank you for the offer, but I can't make it.
Yeah, I told him that message. As, you know, the message, you remember we talked about it.
Yes.
And I told him Paul was ready to give you
a wheelchair.
Thank you, Paul. Yeah, Chris Oyobio is also a Finbar player. And like I said, today the All Nigerian Soccer Festival is growing in bands. Every year, youth, Nigerian youth, even including American youth, they crave to come to that tournament. It's always a big tournament. Like last year, 24 teams participated in that tournament. The one Atlanta won. So Chris Oyobio actually established, founded that organization, and we're looking forward to it every year. The next tournament is going to be hosted by Austin, and please, I'll call on Paul Opoku again to come and take this forward. You know, I talked to him earlier today. He has some knees issue. You know, like
me again. I like your guru.
Chris Oyobio.
All right. What else can I say about Chris Oyobio? He was my senior. He had graduated before I attended St. Finbar's College. What else can I say about him? It's a great honor to be mentioning his name in this instance. So I will accept this honor on his behalf. Thank you.
Yeah. I'm going to call on Mrs. Miss Mary Money to come and present this certificate to Samakodo. I'm going to call on Adewi, he's his friend, and probably we'll send it through one of our guys in Maryland. Please, Mr. Adewi, please present this on behalf of Samakodo. Thank you. Thank you, and thank you very much. Please, you can go on and let's dance till we retire. Thank you very much.
Mr. President.
Thank you very much. MC, thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir, Mr. President. Thank you. Thank you very much. No, he's president. He is the president. And okay, now that the president has spoken, I guess there's only one more thing to do. Not exactly. Ms. Donald, did you have something you wanted to share with us? We'd love you to say something.
Thank you. Thank you. May I take this opportunity to thank you all, and I feel very happy to be here today.
We'd like you to know your name.
Oh, excuse me. My name is Miss Marian Donald. I used to be a national player, the first women handball team in Nigeria, and one of the pioneers. Thank you all. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. All right, it looks like all we can do right now is just kind of dance. We're gonna dance and drink. Make sure you drink reasonably. You know. Okay, but before I actually put this mic away, I'd like to say thank you for giving me the opportunity to do this. It's good to be amongst colleagues and just kind of do something special. Thank you.
Thank you.
And then I'm going to hand over the mic, now that I've said thank you, to the secretary to give us a vote of thanks. And then we can dance, dance, dance. Thank you. Once again, my name is Patience Edremoda. Most people call me Pat, but I prefer Patience. Thank you.
I guess Pat was very patient. Thank you, Pat.
Thank you.
We love you.
Love you.
All right. My name is James. Some people call me Taye, and those who know me call me Governor. Miss Donna, I thought you were going to tell me how you dunked on my good friend, Dr. Isabel. But you didn't tell me that, so I guess it never happened. Well, definitely, yeah. Thank you, Dr. Isabel. Well, on behalf of the association, I want to thank you sincerely for many of you that came out of state. I know there's a lot of people that came out of state here. Most people came out of the country. We have somebody that came from the UK, and she's been with us for about 2 or 3 days now. You don't know what this means to this organization. Like everybody has told you, it started as a craft, as helping your brother get along, helping people, and then it just blossomed. It takes great people to come together to do this. We're very excited. This is the first convention. It's going to get better from here. Okay, it's going to get better from here. Yes, we did pull this out, and we didn't pull it out by ourselves. We pulled it out with the help of everybody. People showed up, people called. The committee chairman, Mr. NSJID, I thank you for everything. I know you don't have no fear in your head, but I know you tried very hard not to lose the fear you had. We got a lot of phone calls from out of state, from our colleagues, trying to help us make sure everything is, well organized. Well, it is. It is organized. We're down to our zero. So, on behalf of the organization, hopefully we'll see you and some other more at the next convention. Thank you. You are well appreciated. We pray that you have a safe journey back home, wherever you come from. Okay? Thank you. Now is party time. Come on, DJ. Let's rock it.
Say
Nobody everybody's a business. So I do this teach you the business. I don't think you know the girl. I don't do that before. Just do as I do, and you will have a lot of fun. So jump to the center, move one leg like this, and bounce it. And bounce it. Go and bounce it. Now with African dance, you have to go down low, shoulder up, and just chest. Facial expression. Give me a Essa é a proteção humana.